So today one of the many cars I'm doing is a 2001 Pontiac Bonneville, and the complaint with this one is that the air conditioning doesn't work. And what that means, translation, the blower motor doesn't work. When you come down in here, the blower motor is accessible. This is the plug to the blower motor. This far side over here is, I want to say that, I don't remember which is power and ground. There's only 3 wires, but long story short, you run power and ground to this, it works fine. Or if you have it plugged in and run power to the ground, using your power probe, if you go, ground side and send it as opposed to the power, I can get that to run. So I know that it should be the blower motor resistor. Now, usually when a blower motor resistor fails, it'll be something to the effect of it works on high but it doesn't work on any of the lower speeds. And this one for the fan, it's just kind of more like a rheostat than a position switch, where you have 4 or 5 or 6 distinct positions. And so instead of having a blower motor resistor, it has what is known as a blower control processor. I apologize that the lighting is so poor, but there just isn't time today to get out the floodlights and stuff, but I still want to share this information. It's a little bit different than what you'd expect. So to get the glove box out, there's a screw here, here, and here. There's 7mm. You just pull those out. Pull the panel down here. You can see it sitting on the windshield. You unplug that light. See the blue wire and orange wire. So you undo that. The screws are on the far sides. There's one on this far side here. You can see right there. Unfortunately, this camera isn't in the mood to focus. There's another here, and then there's a body pin right here. So you pull those out, it comes down, and then you can pull it back. You can see I've got this little computer, this little body control computer module, whatever, pulled down. It goes on a metal bracket, and there's a push tab back here. You got to push that toward the front of the vehicle, and then this will slide straight down. You can see the slots on the back side of it and the catch. So once you push that forward, this will just drop out. Once that's down, then it's time to get into the glove box. From the glove box, you've got this bracket here, and there's 2 bolts that hold this up. You can see the castings for them. There's a casting here and another casting here. So you pull those 2 bolts out and just push it down. There's a third stool leg, if you will, that's back in there. You just leave it in and you just slide it down. You can bend it slightly and then bend it back when you bolt it in. This is the plug essentially for the blower motor resistor, a little 3-wire plug, and then there's 1 screw at the top here. It's a 7/32, and you'll need to pull that out. Once you've pulled that out, there's basically just a hole in there, and for the cooling, and you just pull it out through here. There's another wire that goes straight down, of course, just like a blower motor resistor. There's a plug going in, plug going out. It's a processor, control processor is what this is called. Blower motor control processor. There, I said it. Moving right along, you pull that out and replace it with one that's $200 from the dealership or from a vendor. Let me show you what I found. This is what it looks like, and you'll know it's bad because it's usually the ground wire that needs a little help. If you supplement ground, you'll know that this is bad. Now what happens, you see it's Vallejo, made in Mexico. It's probably that Stiletto town or whatever the name of that is, where the Hemi and all the rest of that stuff is made. I know that's GM, but just that whole town's that way, manufacturing automotive stuff. So here's what happens. You take this off. It's just got 4 tabs on it. Get that out of the way. It's all held on by 1 screw that's a T8. T8's tiny, folks. It is just really, really small. But you unscrew that, and it's like a little T-bracket, a little seagull bracket or something, and it holds down in the center. It'll look something like that. It's got this red glue just to prevent vibration damage or whatever. So you'll have to pop that with a screwdriver. Make sure you get that screw out of the middle here first. You just pop it loose, and then when you pull it up, I'll show you what happened, what failed. Okay, now looking at this thing, you've got 3 wires, just like going in, going out, and they're routed through here. You can see one says morado, and the other one says negro. It's the negro wire. I stripped this back to look at it, and of course it's unplugged, so it doesn't matter that these are making contact here. But basically, look how shiny this part of this copper wire is. See how nice, and it's got a good luster to it. And you look at this, it's just dull and flat. Now remember, there was still ground here, and when you turn the blower motor on, it lit up as being positive, and then you switch it to have the ground come on, and then the blower motor kicks on and it runs. So this just isn't getting enough. It's like when you're trying to jump start a car and it has a poor connection and it isn't quite getting through. Now I've scraped that up a little bit getting the stuff off, but there's a big difference in the luster on this wire. So the fix for this, to be able to get good contact electricity off, and it flows on the surface of the material here, the copper wire. So if that is all full of corrosion, it's tarnished, it's burned. This is from heat actually, and the outer jacket of the wire was actually pretty messed up. I did a video on a Chevy truck that had kind of the same problem at the brake light switch, where the wire was just getting melted. I just didn't use high enough grade wire on this. So what we're going to do is we're going to splice in some high grade wire and do some heat shrink where this splice is. I'm going to heat it from the back side and basically replace a section of wire. I'm going to test it, make sure it works, and it's a waste of time for some people, but I just like to prove that, you know, my idea works. We've ordered a new one in from the dealership, and the car will be getting a brand new dealership GM blower motor control module, or whatever it is. Control processor is what they call it. They got all those names. It's just the same thing. It's just a little control circuit board. So anyway, they call everything else a module. I don't know why this one has to be a processor, but it is. You can see that the heat conducting surface on this is really tarnished as well, so it's not going to conduct heat as well as it would if it were clean. But anyway, if you wanted to, you could fix this. That's all I'm saying. You just need to replace that part by heating up this little solder joint right here, and then after it's heated up, pull the wire out, spindle this one, stick it through, solder that again, and then put your heat shrink onto this wire, slide it on first, get it out of the way so it doesn't shrink early, and then solder the other end of this wire here together. After it's soldered, put your heat shrink back over it, and rock and roll, coochie coo, you are the man. That's how you fix those. That's all it is. We're spending $200 because this little wire fried because I used cheap wire. Boy, it just was not in the cards to get this done. I never got a chance to do this. The dealership one came in. This is what their part number is. It came in, and it was just time to wrap this up and get it done. A lot of people like to see everything work at the end, so I will oblige you. Turn the key on, and there's blower motor in any position you want. You can't feel it, but you can hear it. So mission accomplished. That's the trouble, but I don't know, it's fun to fix things and solder things instead of just swapping parts or just replacing things. It's fun to get in there and see specifically what failed, but it just wasn't time for that today. It wasn't in the cards. Also, one more thing of interest that I'd like to share. To get the seat up, to get to the fuses and the battery and stuff, you just pull up on the front seat, and that releases the tabs, and then you can slide it out this way. You can see you've got your battery here, and then a fuse box. It's almost exactly like the one you know, that you have under the hood. It's just a little 30 amp fuse for blower motor HVAC. So you'd want to check that first before just, you know, going willy-nilly on the other. But I saw it had power, so I knew it was good, but I just checked it anyway.
Hey, thanks for watching Brian's Mobile One. Make sure you click like, subscribe, and leave comments in the comment section below. Thanks.